It's really quite popular. A lot of people use it, the DMIS model.
And in fact, it evolved into a instrument, which I personally have a lot of trouble with, but it's been so popular that people are making a lot of money on it.
Especially the integration isn't really possible. Do you think it is?
I do. I do. I think there are, but I think it's probably very, very rare. There are other models which are used for other kinds of this journey. I have one that looks at race and understanding race. I have one that looks at homophobia and a continuum of homophobia, same sort of thing. I think the people who get up to integration they're few and far between. Yeah.
When acceptance is up there, do you mean for someone else to accept me or for me to accept someone else?
Do you have the handout there?
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Why don't you read it? Because, yeah. No, I didn't mean that in a pejorative or critical way. It is an opportunity to, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, read it out loud.
Okay. Acceptance of cultural difference is the state in which one's own culture is experienced as just one of a number of equally complex worldviews.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's really the heart of it. It's acceptance of difference. It's not that we have different cultures. It's not celebrating the differences, which is why it isn't up here further. It's just saying, we have differences.
I suppose I'm asking whose acceptance?
Well, now see, this is me. As if I am at the ethno-relative stage of acceptance, I'm saying I am accepting your cultural difference.
I understand.
Does that do it? Yeah. So, and if you are at that stage, then you're accepting the cultural difference.
Right. Okay.
Thank you. That doesn't mean that you fully necessarily love it and respect it in all of its glory.
I could see it also as, being in another culture and then you're being accepted by the people who are there.
Yeah. No, that's different. This is like, who am I, or who are you where are you on this continuum?
It's you. Okay, I understand.
There's another model which uses tolerance as down on the negative side, which I think is a really interesting point. That if I'm just tolerating you, I'm kind of gritting my teeth and I gotta tolerate you, but it's not really. So there are lots of cultural frameworks out there. There's all sorts of them, and all of you were exposed to them in OB1. There was a table with some lists and some readings. And whether or not you absorbed all of that in OB1, I'm not going to make any judgments on. This is this important point. Beware the fallacy of the level of analysis. If I say that you're different from me, and you are Native American and I'm not, and then I say that's because you're Native American, that's an erroneous assumption. So I'm taking an individual difference and I'm magnifying it to a cultural level. That's not appropriate. Hello? I think you have the wrong number. This is a classroom. That's okay. Unless someone is the parents of Anna Fink. Oh, okay. Okay. Here's some of the cultural frameworks that you see a lot around here. We have Kluckhohn and Strockbeck, who had these 5 dimensions. They were some of the classic work. They started working on Native American populations. We have Edward Hall. We have Gerhard Hofstede. These are some of the categories that they used, and a lot of them overlap. A lot of them are similar. So, for example, Kluckhohn and Strockbeck talk about time, and Hall talks about monochronic and polychronic. the relations and humans to nature actually is fairly similar to some of the power distance stuff in Hofstede. So these overlap quite a bit. I'm just going to talk really quickly about a couple of them. And I'm just going to do this very fast just to kind of give the idea out there. This is Edward T. Hall's Beyond Culture book. And he talks, this is my dog.
Are these the samples of
Yes.
styles that we would be
That's
using
right.
in our
And that's why I'm talking about them here just briefly. This is Jake. Jake is very polychronic. Polychronic, you may have been exposed to this a little bit in OB1 or in other places. The idea of a polychronic person, polychronic cultures, they do a lot of things at once. We were kidding Linda about being polychronic. They're subject to interruption. Someone walks up to them. I may have an appointment in 15 minutes over here, and I'm 20 minutes away, and you walk up to me and say, how are you doing? Let's have a good conversation. And I'm not even paying attention to the fact that I'm supposed to be here in 15 minutes. Time commitments are an objective to be achieved if possible. Polychronic people tend to be high context, and we'll talk about that in a second. Committed to people and relationships. Often changing plans. It's about relationships, close relationships rather than privacy, and they have lifetime relationships. Morocco is pretty polychronic. Although there are many cultures in Morocco, the cultures there tend to be pretty polychronic. Monochronic. One thing at a time. I concentrate on the job that's in front of me. I take my time commitment seriously. I need to be there at 9 o'clock, so I get there at 8:55 to make sure I'm on time. Low context, need information, committed to the job, adhere religiously to the plans. Concerned about not disturbing others. You know, privacy is really big. So this is one of the ideas that Edward Hall came up with, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Hall also came up with the idea of low and high context. I know that's part of OB1. And here's some, you can look at this slide some other time. It's got way too many words on it. The idea of low context, meaning I'm not drawing from the context. You have to tell me exactly what you want. And the communication has to be absolutely clear and in the words. Where high context, I understand the context that you are part of. So I take a lot for granted in our relationship. And I understand you. And we have sort of a code for carrying on things. Some other communication style challenges. Language, obviously. If I don't speak your language, or if I speak a different version of the language. I remember when I moved from San Francisco to Chicago. And even there, now this was 30 years ago, but I would start saying about, this is not in my space. And the people say, what are you talking about? What do you mean by your space? Nonverbal. This, or do I sit on the desk like that? Stereotypes that we have about other cultures. How we evaluate other cultures. Yeah.
Do you say soda or pop?
I say Coke. Yeah, see, where I grew up, everything was a Coke. Yeah. What do you say?
Pop.
Pop, yeah. Yeah, I never said pop. I would say soda sometimes, but I never said pop, yeah.
I used to say tonic.
Tonic?
Yeah.
Tonic to me is quinine water. Yeah. Yeah.